Welcome to the studio of Ukrainian Rus radio Nash Holos. Today we have Roman Lисяк with us. He is the founder and organizer of the Toronto Ukrainian Film Festival, which is going on right now in Toronto, April 4th. Hello, Roman.
Hi, Anton.
When this idea of the organizing film festival first came to you?
Well, our first film festival was last year. In March of last year. Last year, I live here in Toronto, and we live in a predominantly Polish neighborhood. And we were out for dinner one night, and I saw that the local cinema was having the Polish Film Festival. I started looking around, curious to know if there was a Ukrainian film festival going on anywhere. And there was nothing in Toronto. So I felt that, why can't we do something like that? And I started searching to see what kind of films were available and what Ukraine was putting out at that time, and was completely blown away with the quality, the variety, the strength, as well as all the awards that the films were winning on the world stage at festivals such as TUFF, Cannes, Sundance, and this year, 20 Days in Mariupol has won an Oscar. So we decided to put a festival on to showcase these films, but also by showcasing the films, we are fundraising as well. So all of our proceeds go to two foundations. One is the Second Front Foundation, and the other one is CUFF, Canada Ukraine Foundation. So it's a fundraising event, but also celebrating modern Ukrainian cinema. Culture, and trying to showcase this art to Canadians, Torontonians, to the general public, just to showcase what modern Ukraine is actually achieving in the arts and cultural world.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this job, because Toronto has one of the most biggest, I guess, Ukrainian population abroad, and it's very sad that we didn't have any Ukrainian movie festival. This is already second time you organize this festival in Toronto. Are you excited about that, and what's your expectation?
My goodness, absolutely. I'm very excited. Last year, just a little bit for last year, we put the whole film festival together in 2.5 months from conception to execution, and from all the help that we got from Second Front, my partner Pamela as well. We worked hours and hours. We put that together, and we ended up selling 1,500 tickets and generated $30,000 in humanitarian aid. This year, we're hoping we've expanded. We have 10 showings this year rather than 8 of last year. We have an opening reception as well, where we're pushing for networking from Ukrainian filmmakers and Canadian media and film as well, so they can at least cross-pollinate, hopefully make some relationships. So we're excited about the added scope that we're doing, the added films that we're doing, and the networking that we're at least putting on the table for people to network across. Just to help support Ukrainians here that have moved and have moved from Ukraine, been displaced. We have a director that was is now living in Vancouver. She's flying in, the director of Vidana, or Felix Austria. We also have the assistant director for Klondike that's going to be here as well, doing some question and answered period Q&As. So yeah, it's expanding. It's a little bit bigger. We're excited. We're excited to see, how many people fill our seats, and how much money we can generate for the humanitarian efforts.
Do you have a plan maybe to bring this movie festival to some other Canadian city for next year, or somewhere in the future?
So we started a corporation, a not-profit corporation called Kino Canada Inc., and Kino Canada puts on the Toronto Ukrainian Film Festival. We registered it as a federal corporation, thinking that we could somehow, provide content, collect content, and engage other cities to show it. There's a couple of other organizations that are doing that now. Ukraine Harmony Foundation is doing that. They kind of do more one-off things rather than a whole collection of films, but we've teamed up with them as well. Like I think we're stronger when we work together. So we've reached out to Ukraine Harmony. They're helping us put on Luxembourg on Sunday, with all the proceeds going to Ukraine Harmony. So I feel that we're stronger when we work all together. Yeah, hopefully we can work with Ukraine Harmony again and see if we can get some more films across Canada nationwide. So the film festival, I don't know, that's a lot to organize over across an entire. It's hard enough to do it just around the corner from my house. So to do it across the city, yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
So let's talk about the festival particularly. What's new have you brought to the festival this year?
All the films are new. We're not showing the same ones as last year, but we're trying to be very conscious of the content as well. We're showing 2 documentaries, actually 3. One at the front end, one at the back end, and one right in the middle. But we're trying to provide a variety of films, including like historical drama. We've got a couple of comedies. One's a dark comedy. One's a little bit lighter. We have an opening reception as well that I was saying after our first film today. Tonight we're going to be welcoming the Polish consulate. A couple of dignitaries, MPs are showing up, and to celebrate Ukrainian culture. So, but with it being larger, new films and also guests is what makes this year's festival bigger and better.
In terms of selection process, can you tell me how does the selection happen in your festival?
So the selection, because we're primarily trying to fundraise, we do not have sort of a whole committee of critiques, reviewers for submissions. We literally go out and we look. We have contacts now in the Ukraine film industry who are now here. Specifically, one Anna Palenchuk, a co-producer in the Rear View that we're opening up with. She's been instrumental in helping us acquire a lot of our films. So we've worked with her to make the selections, as well as she knows a lot of where some of these directors are and has helped us get them here for the Q&A sessions. So the selection process is just literally going through the films that are on the docket at this point, selecting ones that we feel work with, or not to have a variety of films and different and the thing is now we're going to start getting into a time where there's less and less of like large feature productions, because the government in Ukraine is now putting all their funding into defense and not into films. Most of the films that will be coming out will be documentary, like we're seeing right now. They're lower budget. More people can do them. They tell the story of what people are going through there, which is very important, like 20 Days in Mariupol. So next year, we might need to start, looking further back into previous years and other films that were done previously as well, just to keep that variety. I think the variety is very important.
Do you expect Canadian audience in your festival?
So the Canadian audience, I'm actually a home builder and an architect previously, so I have a lot of contacts now in the architectural industry community as well as the arts community here in Toronto, and I am trying my best to at least make that whole community, the arts community, the Toronto arts community, aware of this festival. I think one of my key goals is to have Canadians come and see these films, not just the Ukrainian diaspora. I think right now the struggle that Ukraine is going through right now is going on for a longer period of time. There's a fatigue as well, which we need to address. And so if we can keep sort of a positive nature on Ukraine's modern aspects, its arts and culture, what it's producing, and showcase that to Canadian audiences, it keeps Ukraine in their in their minds, and their support. So that way we can rally Canadians in behind Ukrainians and what they're going through in terms of their struggle right now.
Do you think Canadian starting to forgetting about the war in Ukraine, which is going on already 2 years, and of course the 10 years of the annexation of the Crimea and Donbass?
Yeah. I think so. But that's another reason why we're putting this on. It just keeps it on the forefront, but it rather than, showing what the pain and the suffering that is going on there, which is important for people to know about. I'm striving to show what Ukrainian culture and contemporary culture has made and is still making, and highlighting what the struggles are that they're going through. But trying to show a hopeful material as well. A culture is what makes a nation. Without a culture, without its language, its music, its film, its art, its sculpture, a nation doesn't have very good foundations if it doesn't have its art and culture. So to celebrate its contemporary art and culture is very important in making a nation as well. I think one of our volunteers that works at Second Front said it very well, that культура – це наша зброя. The culture is our armament. It's our weapon. So we stand behind that, and put a positive foot forward as well, along with defense.
Can you name a couple movies that you strongly recommend to watch during this festival in Toronto?
The opening film in the rear view is a very, very strong film. I saw it and we helped promote the film at TUFF this year. I know when Maciek Hamala, the director, he was up on stage and somebody asked him, did you have, what was your experience in the danger aspect? Maciek is a filmmaker from Poland who dropped his camera, dropped all of his work, and spent 6 months driving a van. He bought a van and was driving people from hotspots in Ukraine across the border into Poland to help people evacuate. 6 months into it, he thought and said, I should be telling these people's stories. I'm a filmmaker. So he coordinated having a filmmaker in the passenger seat, and the movie is filming people in the back seat, but is so artfully done, so well edited. It's a debut for the director as well as the editors, and it's super powerful without being, showing the shelling, all that. It's about the people and their stories. So very well made. That's we're starting off with that one. On a lighter note, we have Luxembourg, a story about two brothers and their father on his deathbed. There's sort of cultural quirkiness, humor of the two brothers, their relationship with their dad. We have a historical drama, Felix Austria, which looks really beautiful. Putting on a historical drama with all the costumes and the scenery is quite a task to take on, and I'm really excited to see how that comes out and how the audience takes to that. So I think those three, if you want a good variety of them. Klondike won tons of awards, so we're showing that Saturday night. Yeah, I would say between those four, it's a good variety and a good selection.
Thank you, Roman, for your answer. So Roman Lисяк was here with us. He spoke about the Toronto Ukrainian Film Festival, which is going on right now in Toronto from the April 4th to the April 7th in the Royal Cinema Place. Thank you, Roman, again.
Anton, дуже дякую. Thank you so much.